from there. So great. Thanks for coming tonight. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about the Valkyries program. Not sure who knows us and who doesn't, and kind of how we operate and kind of why we're leaning into Raleigh and what the interest there is. So, at the end of the day, we're a female-centric rugby club. So it's led by women. I'm the only male in the organization. It's really just because I started it, to be honest with you. But it's coached by women, and we're really engineered to meet the unique needs of the female player. So our kits, for instance, are custom cut to a female physique. And then we see ourselves, definitely as a high school program. So our kits are slightly more modest than most kits when worn appropriately to get girls to where they're going. We always tell them when you go to college, you can do whatever you want. But while you're in our program, we need a little bit of appropriate attire. We want to provide opportunities for any girl seeking play. So I don't know if you guys have seen us, but we've got core teams that we play with. But I'll tell you guys a little bit more. But any girl in the country who wants to play or sees an opportunity, we'll get her there. We call that an ecosystem. Now I'll go into a little bit more detail on that. We're really focused today on, the college bound player. So it's that player who's saying, I want to play at the next level, at the least club. Maybe I want to go varsity. Maybe I want to get into a school I couldn't have gone into without rugby, whether it's an Ivy, or maybe I just want to get a really good discount on a school. Like we had a player go to SNU, Southern Nazarene last year, who was really looking to leverage her rugby to get her, a good scholarship. So, but that's the predominant community we're meeting. Obviously, there's some girls over time who won't go on that path, but we want to make sure that we're getting them there. And the way that we do that is we try to provide very good coaching, and we tape every event we go to. And nowadays, we're actually broadcasting everything live. We used a 4K camera instead of a VO camera. We use that because you can make much better clips. And then we help encourage our girls to make your own clips and so on and so forth. We have a resume sample. We've got a lot of content on how to talk to a collegiate coach. There's a lot of focus on that. And then over our past several years, we've gotten to know a lot of collegiate coaches, and they call us, where's this player? What do you got? I'm looking for a prop. I'm looking for a wing. What do you got? And so we have great conversations with them, and then we vector them over to the families and say, hey, we think this is good for you, or this coach called about you. You should follow up. And then we support you and your family. So we take a back seat once that process has started. I'm letting a few more in here. But that's it. So, looking at that elite player also who's saying, hey, I think I got the right stuff. I think I can go for it. We want to support her too and guide her on, where she can play nationwide, what the pathways look like, how to get in the pathways, and then introduce her to pathways players so she can, develop to wherever she wants to go. This is us 4 years ago, so we're not an old program. We were just a group of little 12-year-old girls who went out to go play at what's now known as Halloween Sevens and go take on the world. Today, three of the girls in that picture are still in the program, including Jenna Salier, who's the head coach in that photo. Jenna was a whopping 18 years old in that picture, taking the helm of a high school rugby team. And her heart rate was so high, I thought she was going to have a heart attack during the match because she couldn't jump out on the pitch. But we won our first match in convincing manner. We had the Raptors beat, and then they had some personnel changes that were really unique. But we had a good outing, and ever since then, we've gone from there. This is what we look like now. So you can see the kit. I'm sure some of you guys have seen us. It's actually by the vendor who makes it. He now calls it the Valkyrie cut because we custom designed it. It's a very light color on purpose, so it works kind of for our southern temperatures. It's a very thin material as well, so it keeps our players really cool. And the tops are extremely tight and they stretch like you wouldn't believe. So if you want to take a player down in this kit, you've really got to wrap her up. It's really hard just to grab a hold of her. And that's why we went this way. But we had a great season last year. We won Halloween Sevens outright. We came in second in Old North State, which honestly, we shouldn't have won any of those matches. It was 15s, and we were playing, elite sides. We played in the EGRL emerging tournament, which we're looking forward to being part of EGRL as soon as we can get player density. That's the only thing that's held us back. But we played in the South at Guilford when they played here, and then we took a handful of girls up to New Jersey for the EJRL championships. So we do try to help girls go wherever you want to go. So we had a player who campaigned heavily in June, playing for different teams. So we want to make sure if that's, your jam, those opportunities are there for you. I mean, I took a group of girls up to Gonzaga, for instance, and we all played for a club we're very close to, Vienna, who's based out of Northern Virginia. So we want to get you wherever you're going. We came in second at Christmas Sevens this past year in a heartbreaking loss. We look forward to going back there again this year. New York Sevens, we sent three players, all three played for the Rugby Advantage. This year, it looks like we're going to send about four, and the girls are debating whether they play for Atlantis or Rugby Advantage. So, kind of our approach is if we're going to a tournament, you should play with us. If we're not going to a tournament, we're going to help you, go as far as you can and pursue a select side opportunity. So it's pretty easy. Well, I guess it's more. We have two more, actually three more who committed to Atlantis already out of Texas. But since we've got all the video, it's super easy to reach out to these clubs. We were probably in the wrong division at Ruggerfest, but we had a dominant outing there. But we also had, I think we had six era girls on that side, so it's a little wonky. We went to Trops, but we did release some girls to play to select sides, which kind of softened our team. But we always go to Trops, and it's right here in our backyard. Why would we not go? We sent 5 year players to Europe this year, which is kind of becoming a growing theme. Obviously, it's a select side, so girls have to pursue it. But we have the mechanism to help your player get there if she wants to go in that path. What's great about it is, when you go, everybody's good. So it kind of helps your player develop. And then you're playing European girls who definitely play very differently than we do. We tend to be more athletic women than they produce over there, but their rugby's far superior. So it really helps your player develop. And it's just kind of fun. A little bit more about us. So I'm Dean Pappas. I'm the president of the organization. We have a foundation called the Joan of Arc Foundation, obviously a female in a uniquely male-centric combat environment. So that's how we found her as our focus. So I run that as well. And my background is, none of the people on this picture have any rugby background. So it's a very interesting concept. And I'll explain that more in a second. But my experiences in powerlifting, I was a competitive powerlifter most of my life. Then I went on to Ironman triathlon racing. I was consistently the top 3% in my races. So, definitely spent a lot of time in athletics. And I really, in all candor, I found this club around my daughter. And, I think that happens in a lot of clubs. What we want to make sure is that it doesn't end with me, but grows. So I brought Megan Xavier on last year. She's a lawyer by trade and a runner by her athletic background. She is, probably going to take over the organization in the future, but she will have had a couple years in our system and our process. So it'll be very easy and kind of our families won't really feel the impact. Last year, we reached into Greenville. That's kind of what we're doing here. So the 76ers had a girls' side for years, and there were some changes there. One of their key players decided to go play with another side. When she left, other girls lost interest. And then there's just a total breakdown in coaching and support for a girls' side. And our philosophy is we don't want to see that happen. We have enough problems in the sport. So we went in, we met Sue, worked with her and her daughter. Sue established herself as a local administrator. We found field space. We re-recruited the players who were available. We sent up gear and equipment to Sue. We found three different coaches to go work, two women and one male. Beggars can't be choosers, right? But we were able to stand that up. And although that side is not at a point where it can stand on its own two legs, the Greer 76ers couldn't either. But those girls all now combine with us. And, one of the girls who played with us last year, she went to Wheeling on a scholarship. Vivian, Sue's daughter, is talking to several different recruiters, and the rest of the girls are younger. So we're kind of, being as successful as we can there. But we're real happy with that. And that's what we'll be looking for at Raleigh. So to go ahead and identify a local administrator. The reason we like the fact that none of our administrators are involved in the sport is we can't mess with the program, right? So we establish a Chinese wall between play on the pitch and administration. So I'm in management consulting. Megan's a lawyer. Sue's a small business owner, very successful in the Greenville, North Carolina area. We know how to run organizations. We know how to raise money. We know how to lead and drive things. But since we don't know anything about rugby, we don't tinker with the program. So how in the world can we operate then? Simple. Right here in Atlanta, we have the number one women's collegiate program in the United States. So that makes it really, really easy. So what we started doing some time ago, well, really with Jenna, who started with me when we founded the program, is we started building a pipeline of life girls to coach the team. So Jenna Salyer, she's a product of Atlanta, actually, she's the first girl to ever play at varsity rugby from Atlanta, and of course went to life. So that's not too shabby, right? Was wildly successful there. She's since graduated with a mere 3 degrees. She's extremely smart, very good with the players, great leadership qualities. We've had a couple other life girls come through the program. Right now, Sarah Barsum's with us. Sarah has been on the Life Sevens national championship team. She was on the 15s national championship team. In this photo, I think she's 19 years old. She's 21 now. But extremely good player. She's been with our program now for 3 years, and we expect to have her for another two as she moves through. So Jenna is our director of rugby. So the coaching staff we had in Greenville, she oversaw them. We found a coach in Raleigh who actually has collegiate play experience. It's a female. So Jenna's interviewing her as well to make sure, that this young woman's going to jam. But that's it. We found consistently that, coaches who are highly experienced in modern rugby, current concepts, current techniques at the top of their game, and then who are a little bit closer in age or to the girls, but old enough so where they can be seen as an authority figure, it really jams. And we just couldn't be happier. Jenna's staying with us again. She's looking to go for a master's degree, which means she'll continue to stay. And then Sarah's, next step to take on leadership as these two girls bring on additional life coaching, which we should have two new girls this year. Got a lot who volunteered, but they were freshmen, and I want to wait until they're sophomores. So that's going extremely well. Also, part of our relationship with Life that's fantastic is it gives us access to Rich Chadwick. He's their head coach. I would argue aggressively that he's the best collegiate coach in the United States. What he's done with Life in 2 years is just ground shaking. They were good, but now they're really good. And then the leadership qualities he instills. But because of that, our program and coaching now has a lineage from Rich. So when Jenna writes up her practice plans that are distributed amongst the different coaches, wherever they might be, they're very similar to Life. So if a girl goes to a Rugby Advantage camp or a Life camp, they're going to speak Rish's language. So it kind of is a shortcut for your player to get way far along in very current techniques. So we're very proud of that. Rish also gives us access to his pitches. So we've got a tournament coming up in November that even if you don't come with us, we hope you come down to our tournament. But that'll be at Life, which is going to be great. And then Life had 5 or 6 girls on the national teams, the U20 team and the U18 team that traveled to Wales. So we'll be running a camp with those girls on November 25th, of girls who are, D1 Elite champions, Olympic player pool people, just at top of their game players. So that's kind of what we're trying to bring to rugby is have girls access that. And then we're engineered for these girls to depart, right? So we know coaches will move on, especially with our staff of collegiate students. So we have a heavy technology investment. And that's also why our administrators tend to be parents who are stakeholders in continuing the program. But then, with an understanding that when it comes to the pitch, who's playing, don't ever call me and ask me what position your daughter is playing. Don't ask me what happened. I probably won't even know anyway. But we found that makes a nice clean cut and avoids, what I affectionately call daddy ball, which is just not productive for the sport. Again, so how do we operate? Well, we build local clubs. We started here in Atlanta. We got Greenville going. We want to get Raleigh going. We joined the state CIROs. So we're in the Atlanta CIRO. We don't meet the South Carolina requirements yet, so we're kind of fluttering there. But Raleigh, if we move forward, we think we could join that pretty quickly. It's a low bar. So I've already spoken with NCYRU. We just need 8 players and we're done. So it's super simple. And since we are a club that's already registered with USA, we don't have to do anything else there. All of our coaches are certified, so that's super easy. We can combine for larger events if we needed. Like I said, last year, the girls folded into the Atlanta girls for all of our events. But what we do for a team that can stand on its own is the team gets its own kit, its own color. Right now the direction that I'm heading in is a red logo, like you guys can see. That's the red that's taken right off the North Carolina, or pardon me, the Raleigh flag. So that red gray color schema that represents Raleigh, I thought that made sense for the logo. The kits will be the same, they'll just be in a different color. So that way you're your club. We continue to curate ecosystem players. So we started this really when we were born as a club. We didn't have enough girls to play. So we had to go find people to play with. What we found over our past 4 years is there's lots of kids in that situation. We found a girl in West Virginia who was practicing in her backyard with her dad. The state of Alabama has a handful of SIPT kids. And we found a girl who was 16 or 15 at the time who was practicing with a women's club and never played before. We roll them in our ecosystem. They have a very modest fee, but they get a kit and they're a full player. They go into our system so they can see what's going on. And an ecosystem player can just raise their hand and say, hey, I want to go to that event. And then we figure out a way to make it happen. So whether they're playing for us or playing for another party, we want to see them be successful. Today, it's gotten kind of crazy. We've got a little over 20 girls in the ecosystem. About 8 of those are era players, just based on our girls, making friends and traveling the country. We've got girls from New Hampshire, Texas, California, North Carolina players play in our ecosystem when their teams don't go. And that's our only rule. If your home club's going, you can't play for us. We are not in the business of breaking clubs. We're in the business of growing clubs. So that's our only big no-no, unless we have an adamant player, which we've never had. But that said, I mean, we want to be nice, play nice in the community to grow rugby. So it'll be pretty crazy this year. I mean, we're actually going to have to thin out our Ruggerfest side because we almost have too many girls rostering, or we're going to have to split, which we would love to do. Because saying no is not something we like to do. We advise players on select sides. We don't tell a girl where she should go. We tell a girl, our assessment of a select side, what they're going to get, what they should look for when they're asking questions, how to apply. We really want to advise your daughter on kind of how to move through it. We've got college resume templates. We've got Dear John letters when you decline an offer. We've got, guidelines and advice on how to take a call with a coach. I mean, you name it, we've been accruing that content over time so we can distribute it. And then we've gotten to know a lot of coaches. I mean, at this point, if a girl plays for us, a coach will call me and go, "Hey, who's the girl in number 18? Who was that? Who's 9? What can you tell me about her?" And we'll give some advisory, or I'll have Jenna give advisory on actual play skills, and then we connect that coach up with the parent. So we don't want to control it. We want to advise it, and then quickly motion to the parent and have you guys, go where you want to go. As a model, we kind of, I don't know if any of you guys use lean agile methodologies in your businesses, but we think really, really big. I mean, we think we could be a competitive select side as well as how we operate today. But we start really small. I mean, we started with 1 player in Greenville. We started with 4 here, and we move really, really fast. And we make a lot of errors. We tried things that work, tried things that don't work, but we keep trying and keep trying, and we do more of the things that work and do less of the things that don't work. And so kind of we are an amalgam of lessons learned over time. And the staff does do a lessons learned at the end of every season. And we typically survey our parents, what worked, what didn't, what do you want to see different? Like we got a lot of feedback last year that all hotel choices must have breakfast for the kids. So, something that we didn't necessarily think about, but, trying to get every detail as good as we can. Then we leverage a lot of technology for long-term sustainability. So I don't know if you guys use salesforce.com in your business, but we use it in the organization. So, your information when you apply to this call, for instance, goes into Salesforce, so we'll be in touch with you forever. When we communicate with coaches as a staff, collegiate coaches, we record all that. We track them, so we can see when the Newberry coach headed to Frostburg and kind of what he's doing there. We know who he's recruited that we know. So the reason for that is, in rugby so far, I've seen, a couple key things to long-term success. And one is institutionalization of knowledge. You can't have one person leave and have the whole thing die. And that's something that we're constantly thinking of. How do we, as adults or young coaches, when that changes over, how do we continue to be successful? So, that's made it real easy to reach out to folks. And we've got a lot of girls. I mean, we've got a lot of families who join. You can see smack dab in the middle, there are some girls with the Woodlands flag. So those girls come play with us from Houston, Texas at any of our big events because their state only plays sevens. You can see to the right of her a girl in the Greenville Valkyries practice jersey. So we don't let girls walk around in spandex. You're either in your player kit or you're in your practice jersey. So if a player wants to take her shirt off in between matches, she can, but she does have to have a practice jersey. And then girls from different, if you're from Greenville, you'll be in green. If you're from Raleigh, you'll be in red. So you can represent your home club because that is important. We want to see your club grow. The girl on the bottom there is from New Hampshire. We built a great relationship with her club, and she's now bringing three girls down here as part of our ecosystem. In the bottom with the Carolina Rugger Fest, all those 6-footers were all from Vienna. They've all gone on to varsity college programs. Great group of girls, and that stacked pose is like that's how they like to pose for their matches. So they wanted one with us. You can see our crack videographer in the lower left-hand corner. Don't judge him by his age. Kid's good. But again, you can also see all the cabling hung down. That match is being live fed. So we try to live feed everything now. We've got that figured out. We definitely record it all. These are just kind of some of the families and who's doing what. We've had some good results. So we're really, really happy with that. One of our players was recognized as #1 in the nation by Prep Rugby Watch. She's also the only 5-star rated player, and she's the only third 5-star they've ever granted. So really, really happy with her performance and the recruitment going on there. And we feel like the system is working. On the right-hand side, you can see a couple of our girls. That photo is in Spain, while Karis, Sydney, and Sarah are playing over there for ERA. They then went to Ireland and played again. So, it is an achievement to get recruited and taken to Europe for ERA. So we feel like we're getting it right. And, we definitely have an open door to talk to Salty, who runs that program. So if those are things that interest you, they're things that we definitely want to help you with. What we pride ourselves in, and I said this at the beginning, is we're college developmental. So far, every girl who has played for us has gotten at least one varsity collegiate offer. One has declined, but everyone else has accepted them. And last year we had 2 players who played for us from Florida. So I'm sure you guys know Florida is super soft in rugby. And I talk to the leadership down there all the time. They're working super hard, but they're struggling. So what they do is they send their girls up to play with us, so they can get consistent play. Sakura Hari, her sister is probably the best 8-man in the U.S. Cora is a phenomenal 10. She's going to life. Dayton Richardson, she headed to Southern Nazarene University. She had about 12 different offers. And then we had several girls. Well, we had Lucy Bryant, who many of you probably know, but she was part of our Greenville program. So she practiced at our Greenville pitches, played with Charlotte, played with us, but she went over to go play for Ken Papp at Wheeling. He just restarted that program as he left Lander. Um, Natalie went up to Frostburg State. Heck of a coup for Jeff Horton up there. He's a great coach, and he got a good one. Natalie's a little over 6 feet tall. She's got a long way to go. And then Awa and Z, both one heading up to Frostburg to go play with her friend Nat, and then Z heading up to Guilford up there and near you guys actually. Play for Christine, who's again a great, great person. So that's what we want to continue to do, continue to be good at that. We advised all these players except for Cora on her journey. Cora was pretty much baked. I mean, when you're in that echelon, there's only about two schools you're looking at anyway, Life being one of them. But the rest of the girls, it's fun to navigate them through their journey. And when we can celebrate these things, we want to make them big. So this photo here is of Dayton doing her formal signing for SNU at Trops. So we had a nice little event for her. That's on the stage for those of you who have met. Is actually Hannah Ortega is right behind Dayton in this photo. She played with us at this tournament. It's just great. And, when a player works that hard with her education and her sport, that's a big deal. And then obviously Jenna just as happy as can be being part of that signing. So predominantly we are a travel team. We're a travel team because being born in Georgia, there's no girls rugby in Georgia. So we either travel or we don't play. So we build heavy, heavy schedules of travel. With Raleigh, that'd be quite different. So you guys have a 7 season, and I've been told we can notify NCYRU as late as September 16th if we have the numbers, and we can join that CYRO and play locally. Big, big difference for you guys. And again, like I said, we're so far we've been welcomed with open arms to stand up another group there. So we're thrilled with that. But right now, what we'll do, no matter what, and obviously we'll take girls, whether you guys, whether a Raleigh team comes to be or not, you're always welcome to take a look at these events and come with us. But Irish Rugger Fest is this weekend. We lost one match there 2 years ago. We didn't play last year, but we're out there to go give them hell this year. We have an unbelievably stacked side there. And then we've got some brand new girls who've never played before. And that is one thing I guess I didn't mention. So we almost always have a couple girls who, never played with a group of girls who are very good. What's great about that is Jenna spends, a lot of time making sure that that new player without experience is getting a lot of play time. Because, with our mission of growing the sport, you don't get good watching. Trust me, you got to play. We had Ina, who's up in the Raleigh area. I think she plays for the Highlanders. She's 13 years old playing for us at Ruggerfest. But what did it look like? You had Ina sitting there scrumming the ball with Ariana right behind her, who's being recruited by Life, Lindenwood, Sacred Heart, Army. I mean, Cardoff Met, name a club, they all want her. So Ina was able to get on the pitch with an elite player who could coach her during the game. Couldn't have had a better situation. And Eden is obviously extremely good for those of y'all who know her. She's a little monkey, but she's really good. But this set up a situation that we like to see. So even if your player comes to one of these events and is less experienced, we want her to get as much play time as makes sense for her and her physical stature, which is really our only concern. Then we go to Halloween Sevens in Knoxville, big event. We won that convincingly last year. Old North State, we're going to jump in since we don't practice as a 15s team like NCYRU, the Ohio Aviators, and Atlantis is coming down. Really that the objective for that, we set an objective for every tournament. It's really learning and improving our capability as a traveling 15 side. Again, last year we came in second, which was a shock. That would shock me bigger time this year. But at the end of the day, if you want a girl to get better at good 15s, she's got to play it. So that's why we'll go there. So if we show up and we're competitive and we look like we know what we're doing, that'll be a success. Irish Rugger Fest, Halloween Sevens, Ragnarok, our tournament here in Atlanta, Christmas Sevens, we expect to win all of those. So that's a little different, right? New York Sevens, the only reason that's here is because we built our schedule around New York Sevens. That's a select side event, like I said earlier. And our girls will be playing with, it sounds like a mix of Atlantis and the Rugby Advantage. Some girls wanted one, some wanted another. Our mission is just to make sure that they've got a vehicle. What we also do on a secondary website that we maintain, you guys are welcome to track this down. It's called USA Rugger. That has every event we can find, camps, tournaments, matches, whatever. And so we encourage all of our families, track that website. And if there's a tournament you want to go to, call us. So we probably know a team who's there. We probably know people who are there. We've got some players who travel aggressively. Might be able to go with us as as an individual player and hop on another side. So we spent a lot of time trying to find out what's going on because in most of our initial journey, we didn't know what the heck was going on. What do you do? What's the pathway? How does this work? So we try to really pull the screen back on that. Why Raleigh? So we've got a lot of relationships in Raleigh. We've got three ecosystem players, two of whom have played a lot with us in the region. And I got a couple calls, and it sounds like there's been changes in the rugby situation. Changes in administrative staff and coaching. Sounds like there could be a pitch issue. And the calls that I got were, hey, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, tell you what, if we can get enough players, we'll stand up a side there. Um, so we said, no problem. So we went fast. We found a series of different fields we have access to. They're multi-sport fields, which means they're kind of lined for multiple things. There are, I think, three of them that are lit, and we'll pick from one of those because we want lighting, especially as we go into the winter. We found a coach. Well, we found a couple coaches, and then we formed a relationship in the meantime with NC State, who's in Raleigh, and we're getting to know their players better because what we would like to do to create a sustaining coaching staff is to tap into some of those young women over time. But in the meantime, we've got someone who we think we can lead the team under Jenna's guidance, and we're demand driven. I mean, if the families are there who want to do it, we're there. If the interest isn't there, no harm, no foul. You're still welcome to, blend in with us as an ecosystem player anytime you want. You can talk to some of the families who've done that in the past and what their experience in travel was and playtime and, the other players who they met from different parts of the country. That's always available to you no matter what. Well, what's next? I mean, it's not complicated. I want to take y'all's questions in a second here, but it's just to confirm your interest. Yeah, I want to do this. I would register if you've got enough people and however that looks, and then we'll motion from right over there to rent the fields. I mean, again, all the legwork on that's done, and then start registering players and let NCYRU know that we've got a group who wants to play. If not now, and y'all decide to wait till spring, we can do that too, whatever works for y'all. The coach that Jenna's speaking with tonight is super pumped. So I let her know this may not happen, and she was kind of bummed, but that's okay. Um, that's really it. And then, whoever is part of the Raleigh Club can either blend in with the Atlanta side on travel, or if we have enough sides, we'll stand up too, which is what I'd rather do, because we do not like not we do not like telling girls they can't go to something. It's not the way we operate. So that's it. I mean, we'd love for you guys to kick it around and see what's going on. So really with that, I want to turn it over to questions for y'all. You guys are quiet. Normally on our home club, I have to like tell everyone to stop talking over each other.
Hi, Dean. I don't have any questions. I just really appreciate your time and explaining what you're doing. And, um, it was really good information and good stuff that I can take away from it. So thank you for taking the time to do it.
Yeah, thanks, Don. We appreciate you attending.
Okay, hey Dean, it's Eric. In full disclosure for everybody, I mean his dad, so it's awfully nice, Dean, that you called her out.
Oh,
Um,
that's funny.
no, I really just wanted to see what you're thinking here for this region. And I think I just got the email about the call. Like Dean actually saw it and passed it on to me, I think like 2 days ago. So and I guess I'm on here probably more interested in, possibly being an ecosystem player for you guys and how that'll shake out. I'm curious a little bit about the how you feel about the NC State connection. I don't know their program very well. The Highlanders playing Chapel Hill. So I mean, is that just a what kind of a building block does that look like for you? I mean, in this coming to this region, because I don't, as far as I know, none of the sides we've known or played with around here have been particularly connected with state.
Uh, the club, it's not varsity.
Okay.
And so that's not normally our jam, right? But at the end of the day, the model fits. So Jenna's already demonstrated that she can develop a coach real quickly, and effectively.
Hmm.
So even though, the girls it's a club team, it does have a real coach, by the way. In fact, they have a head coach, an assistant coach, and then two staffers. So for a club team, it's pretty juicy. But I've had great conversations with the head coach. He kind of rebuffed me because he's just getting rolling and school's just starting and
Hmm.
starts reaching out to the girls. And the clubs recruit freshman players, who are attending school currently. So that's a little different than like a varsity program where there's no concept of a walk on, right?
Hmm.
But so far I've had great conversations with them, and the reason I picked them was geography. I
Okay.
mean, it's I want to find a location, because I talked to some families. I'm like, well, why don't you just go join Highlanders? And they're like, yeah, hour drive, not going to happen. So I'm like, all right, I get it, because we love Trevor to death, right? But it's just like Atlanta. I mean, there's no one from my team who's ever gonna move to AYR. It's an hour drive at rush hour. It's just
Right.
not gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
So that's what we're setting up, and that's why we're talking to those guys. Probably take a couple months to cultivate that relationship, and then when we're in town for Old North State, I'll set up a
Hmm.
meeting with them. But that's the path, is to leverage that organization for coaching staff and get that, execute that model.
Okay. Great. And I assume the practice fields you guys may have access to are in Raleigh because yeah, you're describing our dilemma, which is it's only 40 minutes to Chapel Hill, but it's definitely a solid hour to Raleigh.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be, so we're just trying to say, okay, if a Raleigh club is faltering, then we want to not be on top of them,
Hmm.
so they can maybe, get their wheels going again, but still serve the girls who are in that area. And then if there is a coalition of the willing, for lack of a better term, then we'll say, okay, here are the three pitches we found. Where's consensus on what the best one is? Because they're three lit fields.
Okay.
And then whatever works logistically the most, we'll just plant the flag there.
All right. Awesome. And just curious, since Tina does have a home side, she's fortunate to have a home side here. If you if you do stand up a club, are ecosystem players able to join you for practices occasionally, or how does that usually look? I don't know if you have that kind of affiliated player like in Atlanta or Greenville that maybe plays for one group but then goes in with the Valkyries when they can, or
Absolutely. So I mean, we're very open, and I've run into some other clubs that want to be, very controlling of the player community. Um, that our one hard rule is, like I said, if the Highlanders are coming to play at Ragnarok, right?
Yep.
We would not let Ina play on a Valkyrie side, uh, because you guys are coming, right?
Right.
She would be expected to play for Highlanders, only because, so in other words, we push her away because we don't want to damage that program.
Gotcha.
Um, Other than that, I mean, if she wants to come to a practice or whatnot, we had the Greenville girls, so that group's now up to four. They requested we hold Saturday practices.
Hmm.
Gonna hold a couple Saturday practices. They'll either come here, we'll go up there, or we'll set up a neutral site, if you will, that kind of meets in the middle. So, whatever it takes to help a girl develop, that's what we want to do.
Great. Yeah, she's they're looking for that forward to that tournament. So I'm glad the Highlanders can go.
Yeah, it's good. And I mean, part of the reason we want to form a relationship with NC State. So last night we had, well, yeah, last night's Tuesday. We had five life girls out there. So we had life girls running opposition against the Valks.
Hmm.
And then, blending in sometimes also to kind of show girls what pace of play is as a D1 elite side, how hard the ball's coming at you, how fast things are going on. And you can't simulate that. So that's just, money. And then of course the girls are talking to the big girls and what's it like,
Mhm.
so it's a good scene,
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Dean.
of
Appreciate
course.
all the info, man. I'm kind of glad you guys are thinking about this market. I mean, Enos had a good experience being one of your eco players, so hope we can continue that for sure.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I mean, yeah, and obviously just let us know what you want to do on that side. I think Raleigh's too far away from you logistically.
We make it work when we have to. Let's put it that way.
Understood. Travis, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just kind of curious. Couple of things. You'd mentioned that Trevor and NCYRU had some support for this potential growth in the Raleigh area. What does that look like?
They said get 8 kids, register them, and you're a provisional member, and you're done.
Okay, because
Eh,
I mean, I put out, I'd hoped that maybe there would have been more people involved in this call today, but I mean, like, I tried to reach out to people where I could and kind of got some mixed results and some mixed thoughts on that. But um, we just want to make sure that the girls a get great training and not get left out. Like I said before, with Hannah, like this being her last year, we want her to develop as much as possible this year and not get left out and left behind. So I guess the other question that I have is just like from feedback maybe that you've gotten, is this like, do you have other people that reached out to you for interested in that growth for Raleigh besides who's here on this call tonight?
so a couple didn't want to attend because, as you guys can see, names are shown.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I
th- th-
thought.
there's a political undertone, and
Yeah.
so they did request that they receive the recording, which is why this is recorded. So there's some, cautionary tales, unfortunately. So we'll supply that to them. And, I had a parent say, well, this is my daughter's senior year, and she's played for this organization her whole, career, and she just, starting over just sounds terrible. I'm like, well, I get it. I mean, that's pretty hard. I've had another one who, ran into some adult friction last year and is just kind of scared. So, to me, it's weird. It's like, why are we having these kind of issues in youth sports? But, I've found that it is a thing. So, that was really it. I think there was just some trepidation. And I think it's one of those things where like everyone has to kind of row in the same direction. And maybe certain people are afraid to jump in the pool. So, I wish we had a strong local presence, could push that harder, or some assistance with being able to conduct direct outreach would be beneficial. And to let them know, it's legit. It's not random. It's not our first rodeo doing this. Um, and then the senior girls will have a good successful experience and really get the opportunities to be plank owners in something substantial. You guys have so many more interested girls than we do, so it's a good opportunity, I think.
Well, and I hope the people that didn't join the call tonight that may be looking into the recording and everything else realize that with your program, it's not a money issue as far as getting them the training and getting them the stuff they need.
So they may not know that clearly, and just for you guys on the line, um, you know, the foundation's pretty good. It's not where we want it to be, but it's pretty darn good. And so as far as girls getting access to travel and opportunities or scholarship players, we've been doing that since we were founded. So no girl is going to be told no due to financial challenges. That's just not how we do things. Um, so yeah, it's definitely workable. And so we'll continue that. So, if you guys do have P folks call, let them know. And then there are some other things like a girl keeps her kit and keeps her numbers. So her number is her number for her, duration with us. Um, but it's that's not going to be a blocker.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that people are aware of that you have the finances and the backing to support whatever training they need to get here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're ready to go. Just once it's, when 7 or 8 girls raise their hand, say, okay, we're ready to roll, we'll have gear up there in 2 days and have the coach ready to roll in a couple more days. We move very fast.
Great.
Thank you. Hey, Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
Hey, Dean.
Hannah's looking forward to seeing you this weekend.
All right, girl. Hey, I hope you rented a car. We're not going to be able to pick you up from the airport after all. Y'all take care. Yeah, have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Talk to you soon.